that you go and talk this over with, or do you make those decisions yourself?
Typically, we're assigned, every felony trial attorney is assigned their own caseload. So as the new cases come into the system and they come into the prosecutor's office, we are each assigned a case on a rotating basis. Typically, the more seasoned and experienced attorneys, like myself, we get the more serious cases. And then once we get those cases, we then immediately contact the victims, and we try to keep an ongoing open dialogue. We meet with them 2, 3, 4 times, as many times necessary to prepare them for either trying to resolve the case or for trial. If they're a young victim, a young person, we take them out to what we call our Child Advocacy Center, which is a center specially set up for young people. It's kid-friendly, little chairs, books, toys, comfy chairs, like I said, nice colors, paintings on the wall, so forth, so they can be at ease. And we talk to them out there to ease the tension. And we interview them and prepare them for trial out there.
Do you have to bring them into the court system then?
Yes, we do.
You have to bring them into the court with a judge. They sit on the stand?
Right. Unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, because I truly believe in the Constitution. But one of the things that the Constitution requires is it gives the offender the right to confront the witnesses against him, his accusers. So, unfortunately, we don't cherish the idea of having to have
a
young person, 6, sometimes 6, 7, come in and take the witness stand. But we're obligated to do so. There's only certain circumstances where that doesn't happen, but we have to have a hearing before a judge to determine if we can do something else, like have the child what we call in camera, where they're not in the same room but they're on the TV screen. But those are rare circumstances. So yes, we have to prepare them for that. So we meet with them quite frequently, adult and young, to prepare them for that trial.
Okay, let's see. You talked about the criminal division, and you talked about the criminal division, the felony review, juvenile. You pretty much talked about all of that that's on there. Oh, you've got child support division. Are we talking divorce situation, child support division?
Right. The State's Attorney's Office is pretty much divided into those 3 divisions: criminal division, civil division, and again, which I explained a little bit, and also the Child Support Division. Child Support Division enforce those court orders that have been entered, where, say, there's a divorced couple, and either party's been ordered to pay child support. Well, we monitor that to make sure the child support is being paid.
What if it's not?
If it's not, what happens is we bring a legal action against that person, bring it back to the court, and then they must now answer to the judge why they're not paying child support, either at the rate they've been ordered to pay or why they're in arrearage or behind.
I cannot tell you how many calls I get. You are doing a marvelous public service right now, because there have been, a plethora of divorces that have gone. I'm not even saying 1 year or 3 years, 5 years. I'm talking about those that have been like 12 years, 15 years, whatever. It's just been a horrific situation. But the fact that child support has not been paid, and it doesn't seem that the injured party is getting through to the judge. And there was a young man that called, and then there was a lady who called. But the bones of the situation is that the rearage for these cases were so vast, so in this day and age, so vast, that whoever maintains the children really is the one that should have that monies paid to them. And in this case was an inordinate amount, because I don't think the judge was either fully aware or just blew it off or didn't care, which is kind of hard for me to understand. When you're so dynamic, Reggie, you are so dynamic,
Thank you.
sitting here talking to me, wanting to do good for all people, the criminal and the victim, how is it that child support, when someone is like thousands of dollars, $16,000, $18,000 in the rear, yet this person makes demands on the court, and the court allows this person to continue without even hearing the back rearage of why aren't you paying the support of your children? Where do we go? Where do we give information to the public out there? Should they contact you? Should they contact the state's attorney's office? Because either the judge needs to be changed for this situation, or someone needs to sit in that courtroom and watch what that judge is doing, because how do you survive? I mean, and that's not even a lot of money, but to someone who is supporting children, that's a lot of money.
Right, right, and that's what our that's what our office does in the child support division. We go after those people who are in arrearage, and we fight tooth and nail to make sure they pay. And one thing the court must decide or consider, though, they must consider, one, statutory dollar amounts. So, for instance, there's a statutory percentage for if you have one child, two children, so forth, as far as what you have to pay.
Okay.
Then the judge also takes consideration that person's work history, the type of job they have, so forth. Okay. And again, I'm not, trying to
No, we understand.
But so there's several factors that the court considers. Now, what I have seen happen, and what happens sometimes, depending on how much they owe, sometimes if the judge has enough, he will order that the person be remanded to the jail, and that the only way they can post bond to get out is pretty much to pay the amount. And you'd be surprised how many people come up with the amount they're behind. You're
joking me, no, really?
It happens a lot. The judge gives them some amount of leeway, and we keep pushing as a prosecutor. Look, judge, the child needs his or her money. They need school supplies. They need to
food.
Eat. They need to live.
Food in the house. I'm talking the bare minimum here. Right. People that email me, and we get a lot of email, and I offer you, of course, always to contact me. We certainly will give you the ability to be on the program, and so all you need to do is email Bev, B-E-V Cooper's Corner, all one word, at yahoo.com. There we be. And I read over all the emails I get, and and I certainly do connect with you. And if you feel that you would like to tell your story on the air, I'm happy to have you on there. And if we can connect you with the appropriate personnel, I would be happy to do that. The attorneys don't seem to be getting the idea that children need to eat. I mean, they need winter clothes, they need shoes, they need school supplies, they need food. We're not talking entertainment. If there's nothing in the house, the electricity has to be paid, the heat has to be taken care of, water bills. I mean, the facts of life. You need shelter and food. Right. And how is a judge so lackadaisical that he would not come down on a deadbeat dad to be able to pay, or a mom if she's the one that's making the salary, to be able to take care of the children? Mm-hmm. Everybody says, let's take care of the children. But Reggie, what I'm hearing from my audience, and I've been doing this, babe, a long time, 30 years worth, I hear a lot of stories that come out from the viewers, and they're here. They come on the program. We did probate court. We do the theft. We do corruption in the Cook County system, in the probate courts. Those judges there, how corrupt they are, how corrupt the attorneys are. This is not hearsay. This is real fact, Reggie. This is the real McCoy. So what do we do in Lake County if, unfortunately, I'm going to say, we've got some of the teachings of Cook County in Lake County? What do these people do who are dying on the vine because their child support isn't being taken care of? You
said it earlier. Contact the State's Attorney's Office, Child Support Division. we'll be more than happy to talk with
Outstanding.
them, to work with them.
Okay, the camera's on you. You
And
got
to
it.
also continue to push and press for the courts to force the person to honor those child support orders. Now, having said that, I would be remiss if I did not mention that we have a lot of good judges that I've seen them. I've seen them hand out punitive measures for not paying child support, and I've seen them lock people up for not paying child support until they can pay. So I've seen it happen. I'm not going to say it happens in every case.
It works. If Reggie says it, he's seen it. It works. It's good.
But there's always room for improvement
Okay.
in anything. No matter what you do in life,
Okay.
you should always strive to improve.
Okay. Well, those are good words. Sounds like it may have come from your mother. Well, that's all right. All right, let's go on to this because I want to devote some time to you because you're going to be running for office and we need to let the public know that. Now, you've got the rights of the crime victim.
Right.
We went through that, but you can summarize some of that. So
I'll summarize it for you. Basically, this is in the Criminal Code of Procedure for the state of Illinois. And there are a list of rights that the state recognizes that the victim enjoys, the victim of a crime. For instance, this notification of notice of when all the court dates are going to occur, to be treated with respect. These are a lot of just basic human rights that they have, because the law recognizes that they are victims and that they should be treated as victims, survivors, of course, but they should be honored or they should be respected, and their wishes and their desires should be listened to. Not to say that we have to go and blindly go after somebody. We must always seek justice, but we want to treat them with dignity and respect. And so that's just pretty much a list of the different rights they enjoy. The right to restitution. If a case is
see that on the restitution.
Right.
How do you do that?
Once a case has gone either to trial or there's been some kind of plea agreement, and there's been a person who has a victim who has had out-of-pocket loss.
Okay, financial out-of-pocket.
Financial loss. They may be entitled to restitution. The judge will hold a hearing to determine if, in fact, they are entitled to restitution, and he or she, meaning the judge, will set a reasonable amount of restitution to pay to the victim. And so, for instance, if a person who committed a crime is placed on a period of probation, as a condition of that probation, they may be obligated to pay restitution back to the victim at a certain rate per month.
So we're not saying everybody's going to jail.
Correct.
I mean, that's what I think they would like to hear, but not as long as it's probation and restitution has been made available to them to do that. Is this asked for by your office, or is this asked for by the judge, or is this asked for as a consolation by the defense attorney?
It's asked for by our office. Again, we work with the victims, we talk to them, we meet with them, we find out what their injuries, either financial, emotional, or mental, what their issues are.
Yeah.
And we try to fashion what's appropriate or what to ask for of the court.
I've got to bring up Judge George Bridges. You've heard me talk. I'm so really enamored with that gentleman because he, took the job of being a police officer at Waukegan Police Department as a side job while going to school at IIT, going into research, and became enveloped in the police department. And so then went to law school and then became a judge. But Judge Bridges was shot twice in the act and the commission of a crime, trying to prevent the crime. And when Judge Bridges was on the program, I saw the scar on his hand, the scar on his neck, and I cannot tell you that he really put his life on the line to protect and defend a place of business in Waukegan. And he forever will be in my heart because there is proof. It's not just what you say, it's the actions you take to say what you have done to protect society
Yes.
And he was there. It was late at night, and he was there. So, Judge George Bridges, my hat is always off to you, and your opportunity to be on this program is always, always, the door is always open for whatever. There's one more slide, or one more thing we have to show on here, because then I want to get to your aspirations, which are very viable and very possible. So the next one coming up would be the criminal procedure, and that you did mention before, but I think we can just run through that quickly. You've got the crime, police response, state's attorney's office, judicial appeals, and post-conviction. But I want to jump into the police response. What if you get a busy signal, or what if somebody's calling on 911 and they say, leave a message, or, we're really busy now, or you get somebody on the 911 that is not reacting to what you're telling them. I know someone who is on a response line in 911, not here, another county, but I was told that some of the people are just not as responsive as they should be. A 911, Reggie, is emergency.
Yes.
But they take this so blasé. Is this because they're told not to be excited, or they told? I mean, I don't understand. Help me here,
Right,
because
right.
I'm so involved. I mean, quick, send, either ambulance or police car or whatever. And the person saying, now, what is your name? What is your phone number? Where do you live? This doesn't pertain to me, myself, but to an incident I may have seen, or an accident. Why do they ask? It seems so silly questions, and don't become involved with the urgency that you need 911.
Right.
What's the matter with these people?
It is. It's part of their training. And their training is to first keep a calm demeanor, and they're trained also to elicit certain important details. For instance, it's important for the officer who's responding so that he or she knows what they're responding to. I can't tell you how many situations where an officer responds to a circumstance and there are people there waiting on that officer. And so it's for officer safety. It's also to check on the well-being and the health of the person, just to see if they need to also send an ambulance as well. So there's a lot of pertinent background information that needs to be obtained. But this is the thing, though. Why that's happening, a lot of people don't know this. While this is happening and this information is being gathered, the police are they're responding simultaneously. So a lot of times you may hear, right, a lot of times you may hear 911. I hear them all the time.
Yeah.
Please send the police. They're actually already on their way. The person is getting their background information, and they're tapping into a computer terminal that goes over the officer's computer. So as they're driving, all this information is all happening at the same time.
Because it seems so nonsensical to have the person, well, where do you live, da da la la la. You are calling in an emergency.
Right.
Someone is down. There was an accident.
Right.
Send an ambulance. Send help. Send. Why do you want to know what my name is? I'm just John Q. Plump witnessing this, or whatever, you know. Send help for this person. And I have another question, which is very important. What about this Good Samaritan stuff? Can I go to help the person lying down, or am I going to be sued?
No. Well, I shouldn't say no, because, the reason I say no is because pretty much in this world of legal action, I guess anybody can sue for any reason.
Litigation's all over the place.
Right, but I would say that I would encourage people to help. Now, what would happen, though, is they may become a witness that we may need if the case had to go to trial. Just for instance, I'm the one who prosecuted, there was, unfortunately, a young woman who was raped on the Ravinia bike trail by the train station a couple of summers ago in Highland Park here. And again, there was a 911 call. There was frantic, but there was certain information that had to be gathered. Thankfully, she did not have to endure the experience of going through a trial because the judge sentenced that young man or that individual to prison for quite a bit of time. But those 911 calls are important, and it's important that they gather that type of information.
Oh, but it seems that they act so slow. I mean, we're talking double time, and they're just slow, slow. Okay, you mentioned testimonies, hearing, presentation, state's attorney's office, and this kind of thing, victims' rights. Anything else? Oh, judicial, we didn't talk about arraignment or pretrial or trial by jury or bench. We don't know about that. Tell our viewers.
I can really do that pretty quickly. Basically what that is once the case comes into the system and it's before the judge, there are several different court dates. There's an arraignment date, and that's just where the judge, for the first time, formally advised the person the charges they have to face and the possible penalties they face in prison or probation. After arraignment, there are several what we call pretrial dates where different motions are heard and filed, and there may be a way to resolve the case short of trial. Then once once we go through that, then you have your trials. The person has the option, the defendant has the option of either choosing to have a trial where the judge just hear the case, or to have a jury, where we do a jury selection, selecting 12 men and women from the community to sit as jurors to hear this case.
I've never been on a jury.
Me
I
either.
would love to be on a jury. I really would love to be on a jury. I don't know if I could handle a murder thing. I mean, that I really couldn't. But I would love to. I've never been called, and I don't know. How do they do that, or whatever they do? I would love to be called. I would love to sit on a jury, and I think I would be able to seek out the truth and think things out. And I would like to do that. Mm-hmm. If I didn't think I could handle it, then I would say, all these years and I've not, that's okay, right. Don't bother me no more.
Right.
But I really would like to do that. I think that would be outstanding. And after the trial, I could go on the air and tell everybody about it. So that would be even better yet. Okay, we've got appeals. Now, appeal is to what? Is that to the judge, the appeal? Or?
No, what it is if the offender has been found guilty, they have rights to then appeal the case to a higher court and allege whatever errors that they felt occurred at the trial, at the trial court level. And then they go to a higher court, and then the higher court will just make a determination based on the transcripts, based on the evidence that's been entered, and they make a determination whether or not the conviction should be overturned or whether or not it should go back down for a new trial. So they have those appeal rights.
So we're talking about from these judges in Lake County, if whoever committed a crime or didn't or whatever, if they feel that they've been wrongly accused, they could take this then to the appellate court.
Correct.
And if the appellate court feels that this person was wrongly accused, then does it go back down to the other court? Or?
Well, the appellate court typically doesn't decide whether or not they've been wrongfully accused or not. What they do is they look at the evidence that was entered at the trial level or the arguments that were made, and they determine whether or not there were errors there.
Oh.
And if there were errors, and those errors amounted to the person not receiving a fair trial, then it can go back down.
So that means that the judge would be overturned.
Or the jury.
Or the jury,
right.
Or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's okay. Mm-hmm. We don't have. Is that the real timer we've got on there? I want to talk to you about you running for. Okay, we've done all this good stuff.
Yes.
Now we want to talk to Reggie about running for office, the state's attorney's office. We know he is absolutely qualified. I feel very confident just talking with him, and I hope that you are as well. And there's the information. It's choosematthews2012@gmail.com. And he is running for state's attorney in Lake County. Tell us what you've got going and Are there fundraisers?
Yeah.
I mean, we're right in the midst of going into Christmas, Reggie. How are you doing all this?
Right, thank you. One thing, the fundraisers for me have stopped until after the holidays, because I think the society needs to concentrate on whether they practice, whether it's celebrating Hanukkah, whether it's Christmas, or whatever holiday they practice. I think it's more important for them to focus on that, because I know I will be.
Okay.
So that's why after the new year, then I will pick up with my fundraising again. The information about me is actually on my website at www.choosematthews2012.com. So it's similar to the email address. The only difference is you just take out the @Gmail. So it'll be www.choosematthews2012.com. And on there I have a bunch of information about me, the family, and my experience and my background, including the fact that I'm a member of the CART team, which is a response team to children that have been abducted.
Oh.
I'm a part of that team as well.
Wow.
So if there's a child that's been abducted, this team, the special trained team, will be called out in the middle of the night. I'll be called out with them individuals, and we do what we can to try to locate that child. So, so that's also information about me on my website as well. I have the experience, I have the dedication, and I have the commitment. Like I said, I've been doing this 10 years as a prosecutor and 3 years as a probation officer. So for over 13 years, it's my passion to protect this society. I love this community, I love these people, and I love my job. And so that's why I'm doing this.
And your wife must love you immensely, allowing you to do all this and not be home with those 4 children.
Right.
Who probably are, where's Daddy tonight?
Right.
Where is Daddy?
Right.
But
and that's always been a situation in my career where I had to try to strike a balance, because I'm so devoted to my job and also to my family, where pretty much this is all I do. Either it's my job or my family. It's not uncommon for me to go into work at 5 in the morning and then come home at 8 o'clock at night. But I also have to make sure I have those certain days where I don't do that, to make sure I go to my children's programs or whatever. But it's not that I have to spend that much time at work or do that, but I believe that to whom much is given, much is required. And I think that if anything is worth doing, it's worth doing well. So I want to be the best at protecting society, and so that's why I devote that much time.
does Waddell Brooks know about you?
He does. Actually, I talked to him.
What do you say?
It's funny because I did an interview with him, same setup almost, back in April, way before I decided to run for a state's attorney. He interviewed me because my mother had written a book, and so a local book, and he just wanted to hear from her son, who's a prosecutor. And I just happened to come on that show and then talk about what I do there, but it wasn't with the idea that I was running for a state's attorney. That didn't come about until later.
We need to connect you with Waddell, and we need all to get together.
Right.
I know Waddell long time.